I just don't care. That's really my biggest problem as a human being. I don't care. There are things I care so deeply about, but I can't change them. Beyond that, I don't care. Naked as I'm talking, I'm just gonna be real with you guys. I thought, you know what? I'm gonna try to connect to God as much as I can. I don't want the world in any way on me as a person right now. And the reality is, there's still a part of the world on me, even if I'm naked. The world's still a part of me, and I'm still a part of the world regardless. But I'm just saying I'm not wearing clothing. Thank you to everyone that's made clothing. Like, I want to say a big thank you that probably not much of humanity has given you. But just from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. All the clothed people, especially if you make it like healthy for our skin and everything and it looks good, especially if I'm like my body's not looking good and your clothing's making my body somehow look good. It's like you clothing people, you're magical. You're so magical. And I hope you know that. And I know many of us don't let you know that. But thank you so much for like hiding myself as a human because not everyone wants to see this. Some people do. Like, believe it or not, it's shocking. I just go, wait, you want to see this? They're just like, yeah. I'm like, okay, like whatever you say. Like, I won't judge you, but I mean, what are you thinking? Like, okay. I'm joking. I'm being so harsh on myself. A part of the world is always on me, even if I'm naked. My body is worldly. I'm a part of the story of humanity with all of you, even when I don't have clothing on. I want to be very real about it. Like, for me, it's because I'm circumcised. I just want to be like very honest and just say, like, hey, why'd you guys do this to me? Humanity. What were you guys thinking exactly? Like, what part of the story do you like about taking a doll with some sharp object of some sort? There's new sciences. There's old ways too. There's all sorts of ways, especially in the world today, for boys and girls. We're talking billions of people today, right now, around you. I just go, whoa, God, what are you doing? What are you thinking, God? Why are you allowing people to like go remove body parts off of like babies and children? Like, I'm looking at my body every day and I'm like looking down there like, oh yeah, you removed this part of my body. Like, God, I guess you just let that happen. Like, cool, God. Like, I guess you'll just take anything from me, right? Like, none of this is mine. My ears are still plugged and I'm talking to you naked on the floor, kneeling. And it feels so right for some reason. And sharing it with you also feels so right. Like, that's how God wanted me to be. God's like, just say too much. Genuinely just say too much I don't know. That's how I made you. I'm like, God, but why? Like, God, why'd you make me like this? He's like, well, no, I'm joking. I need to stop talking and pretending I can't talk for God at all. Like, I need to shut up, dude. I'm sorry. Like, I sometimes get in that mindset of just messing around a little bit there. But it jams for me though when I do that. Sometimes it actually works out. So I'm not gonna try to judge it too much, but I don't want to lean into it too much either because it's really, I have fun with it. I have too much fun with it. Well, again, yeah, even if I'm just sitting here naked, I'm like, oh yeah, the world is still on me. Like, it's marked me for life, like on my dick. Like, why? Like, it took a part of me, and I've tested, like, I've done. I'm just gonna be real. I'm a curious guy, so I've tested this, and it's like, oh, you like took a sensitive part. Obviously, I can understand, and I can understand its functions and like what it was supposed to do. And I'm just sitting here like, wait, why though? But I want to connect with people like in this way as a person. Like, I know whatever. I'm a guy. Like, I'm just some whatever. So it's just that's all I'm about. Like, but maybe that is supposed to be a part of me. It's hard to accept that part of me because it's like, oh, but that part of me was taken and nerfed, and I understand how it was nerfed because I've tested it. Like, I've essentially, I'll just be very blue and blunt. I covered the head of my dick for a while, and a long enough period of time in a safe enough way. I would never suggest anyone doing this, but I've done this, and it's like when you stop doing that, it's like, oh, it hurts, like to wear clothing. Like, oh shoot, this is supposed to be covered, obviously, like the head of my dick. And then if you do anything pleasure-wise, you're like, oh shoot, this feels way more like I can feel what's going on and understand. People are like, oh, you'll go too like faster. I'm like, oh no, like to me, I'm like, I can understand what's going on more. Like, I can like control what's happening a bit better. Sorry, I'm being very blunt. Even if I'm missing my foreskin though, it's like, because I think that's the part where it's like, oh, there's all the things. People are like, oh, it's like color on the television versus like black and white television if you're circumcised. I have no idea, guys. I'm not going to try to quantify any of it too much as a person. I could be like, oh, I read the studies and like 20,000, which is twice as much as this part of this other bodies and blah. Like, I could do something like that, but I'm not going to. The thing is, it's about all of us as people. Genuinely, like, I mean that. And there's all these women out there that were girls when they had this done to them, or babies. I know there's so much variety there, just like with boys. And there's things worse than circumcision for boys too. And like any guys that have had things worse, I'm so sorry. And any girls that have things as bad as circumcision, less than circumcision, or worse than circumcision, any of those on the spectrum of any of it, I'm so sorry. And I'm there with you on some level. And trust me, like that's why it's like it's really not too much of a soapbox. I know some of you it's so much worse. And I'm so sorry. I'm like laughing because it's like I'm here with you. Like it's like I don't mean it in any toxic negative way. It's like I'm laughing at myself. Like, God, you're such a joker, dude. You're a dark fella, man. And God's like, that's how I made you too. Like we're both a little bit dark, but we do it for the light. We do it for love. That's why we do this. And I'm like, God, okay, like I'll do that. I'll do everything for that. Like I guess I'll walk around my room naked, like in the dark, closing my eyes, talking and keep bringing up that I'm naked too, God, right? Like I have to do that, right? God's like, yeah, I made you like say whatever. Like, dude, they took part of your body, like, they were, like, made money off it. They laugh at you if you bring it up, like, they'll be like, "Oh," and you're like, it's not as bad as these people, like, women," and, like, I'm just sitting here like, "It's okay," like, but, like, I know some of you saying that to me, like, you have your entire body, like, you didn't have it taken from you without, like, your consent or anyone, like, you didn't lose your bodily autonomy or integrity or whatever from, like, the second you were born. So I go, "Oh, I wish my body was different." Like, God made me this way, I think, I think there's so many reasons, actually. God made me this way. He had to take a part of me and had to hurt me on my way here. And I think part of that is just so God could let all of God could let you know that God loves you and God loves me too. And I know that there's gonna be tough experiences in this life, and I don't pretend to know all of them, and I don't want to know all of them because I don't even want to know many of the pains that I've experienced. I don't want to know them, but I do. And I don't want anyone else in this life to know them. I really don't. I would never, even if I hated them, I wouldn't want it to them. It's impossible. Like, I would never do that. That's where I'm like, God, why would you do this? I would never do it. God, how can I be better than you, God? God's like, because you are me, you idiot. Like, God, what? God. At this point, I love God, so like I'm sorry. Like I'm just gonna be real. I'm like every time he does this stuff, I'm like, yep, you're the greatest. But it took God. I think God literally had to like destroy me in order to understand him or to see him. It's the only way I'd be in the deep darkness enough alone. God's like, this darkness is actually kind of cool. Like, I built this for this darkness right here. It's for you. Surreal. I'm like, dude. Okay, God, why? That's so effed up. Like, I was gonna say that's cool, but it's effed up. God, why'd you do that? And he's God's like, so we can meet like this. Like, we're just talking. That's what you've been asking for. And I'm like, dude, God, but like, it hurts so much. It hurts so much. It still hurts so much. And God's like, yeah, but doesn't it feel so light right now? Like, does it? I'm like, yeah, actually just doesn't, like, I guess nothing mattered. Like, whatever, huh? Like, we're kind of joking. Like it's kind of light. I'm sorry. Like, see, I'm just slipping into whatever because I'm making that up. It's just whatever. Like God came to me and like lightened me up a bit. And I hope God comes to all of you and lightens you up a little bit, even if it's something you can't get away from. It's always going to be there. I'm naked right now. I can't escape this. I can't run away from my body. I can't pay enough. I can't, there's no way. Like, I've looked at, there's this, the sensory's gone. Like, even if I spend years rebuilding what's been taken from my body, the functionality of it, the nerve endings are still missing. I'll never understand that as a human. Like, I'll never connect on that level. I'll never communicate in that way with another person to the level that I'd feel okay, like that I'd like to connect with people, and I don't really do that much. But I'm just sorry, I'm just being real with you. Whatever. But it doesn't matter because I think it's helped me again and connect with God more. Like, funnily enough, it's so interesting. That's why I'm thankful for God doing this to me or letting it happen. I don't quite understand. I just be real. I don't know. I don't get it, but I also kind of do. I think I'm gonna do this some more. and get naked again. Like, that's literally what I'm gonna do, I guess. Like, that's gonna be my YouTube, is me being naked, talking to you naked, but also, like, not trying to, at least I hope to God, I don't wanna show any of this to you guys. It's not that, like, I would never want to. Like, it's not like, "Oh god, I'm so self-conscious." Like, "Oh no." I kind of am. It's just more for all of our, families out there and all the good folks at the old home. They don't want to be seeing that sort of thing. It's more for those people. I wish I shared less with you. Yeah, I have so many different things I've recorded that are just like, I'm so embarrassed. This one, I'll be embarrassed, but I think I'll also be proud. Every time I've done embarrassment, I'm like, oh God. And I always just like regret it like every damn time. I'm like, what am I doing? This time, I'll probably still feel that at some point, I'm sure. But I think deep down right now, I'm like, oh, dude, just naked videos. Is that, oh, Surreal Feels? That's the naked guy, right? And it's like, what are you talking about? He's not naked. And I'm just like, yeah, if you listen to that, for that one video, he talks about like how he's always naked. Like, you didn't know that? He's like, what? No, Surreal would never do that. He's just that weird. Like, are we talking about the same YouTube channel? And it's like, yeah, Surreal Feels is like always just hanging out the dick and like his butt and like everything, you know what I mean? Like, it's all there. Like, his dick, dude, and balls. Like, it's all there on his YouTube channel, like every video. The person that's not in the know is just like, I swear to God, this can't be the same freaking Surreal Feels. Like, is there like a Pornhub Surreal Feels or something? Or like a X Hamster Surreal Feels? Like, what Surreal Feels are you talking about? This one, I promise you, like, I'll pull out the computer, try to look up another one. I'm actually just not going to share anymore. I don't want to actually give more exposure to any of it. So I'm going to shut up. We did too. We did too, folks. I'm just going to tell you where the joke was going to go. And I was going to like, just like fake computer, like it would be my mind. And I think about like a third one. I'd probably sit here for a second. I just kidding. What do you think a second? The joke was going to keep going, guys. But just for ethics, like I promise you guys, I could do that for you if you want me to. I'm embarrassed to admit it, but I could do that for you. But for the ethics, we'll stop. I want to do uncut because like my body, I wish it was uncut. But I'm like, maybe I should just cut this, like edit these videos. It's a body to be yours. You get to play God for a moment. You get to circumcise the video. God's like, you get to do that now because the world did that to you. You get to play God now. I'm like, dude, God, like, could you have done all these lessons without like taking a part of my dick? God, like, could that have been like the way you did the lessons without doing that part? Like, you could have removed like, I don't know, some part of the pinky or something, like a pinky toe part or something. And this is kind of my idea for the YouTube channel, is just like the naked guy on YouTube. We'll have the whole humor from earlier work with Surreal Feels, with the conversation with the guy that's like, is that Surreal Feels? Like, is there some freaking porn guy? Yeah, no, this is the YouTube guy. He's always naked, like with the dick and stuff. I would give you guys permission to be like, oh, he's the guy that does like whatever. Like, I mean, within reason, like, but just like, you see like the 15-inch guy that always does they're like 15 inches. Like, no, sorry, you're, no, 17 inches. Like, what is that? What? Like, yeah, that guy. And he does all the freaking, the really creative, like plumber ones or whatever. They're really creative, like plumber things. Yeah, he's like laying pipe and it's like, oh, like what dimension? And he's like 17 inches. And he's like, oh, dude, here's the pipe. And they'd be like, oh no, he's like the guy with the really like tiny dick thing where it's like you watch the videos and it's like you have to get like the magnifying glass as you're watching, or you have to use specialized software to add 200, 300, no, 400% magnifications onto the videos. It's the only way they can actually understand how any of it's possible. Just make up the craziest things that like, oh, he's the guy that can like last like 8 hours, right? Like that guy. Like all of his videos are like 3-parters, like Lord of the Rings. And then he did the extended issue. It was like 10 hours, like of like this guy he could just keep going. Like, it's crazy. And it's like, that's the guy that like, he comes in like 1 second, right? No, it's like, no, it's like half second. I don't think it's like, no, promise, you got to see the videos. Surreal Feels, like, trust me, it's like possible, like less than a second. Like the record, I know, it's crazy. Anything's possible. Like Surreal Feels, go look at his. Just feel like, yeah, he's the YouTube guy that does. Oh my God, it's so horrible. I also just want to really quickly talk politics and just say the thing that's interesting with Trump winning. What sucks, in my mind at least, is just that I just think there's going to be a brick wall. Like, there's going to be a point where they can't develop or evolve in a way that's needed or that's meaningful. I think ultimately, for me, the MAGA concept, that's not going to hit an ending quite as much. I think there's going to be some left-leaning parts of that, in my mind at least. The drug war. I'd love to see Trump do something with the drug war, something meaningful, smart, compassionate. Doesn't mean he has to be pro or against smart policies that don't hurt people, but protect them. I don't know if we're always doing that in America. Cannabis, right? 'Cause some people still go to jail for that, right? Why are we doing that again? This person, they lit on fire this plant thing and it went in their body. We gotta arrest them. Gotta like limit their freedoms and stop this. No, he or she or them, they can't be inhaling this. No, 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 no. And now they're laughing. Oh no, they're doing nothing. They're enjoying doing nothing. Oh no, they're enjoying doing nothing. They're enjoying it. How can they enjoy it? They're doing nothing. They're enjoying it. It's like, gotta throw that person behind bars right now. Hey, Miss or Mister, you look like you're laughing a little too much. Having a little too much fun there. You said something that almost sounded thought-provoking, but was kind of cringy and empty and stupid. You must be. Oh no. Did you? Oh, no, light on fire. Barry? Jane? Miss Jane? Oh no, we gotta put him behind bars. Like, I'd love it for Trump to like go figure that, like how that dumb, stupid thing, like how do we get that to stop happening? Like, I think it's dumb. It's like, what are we doing? Like, trying to protect the plants or something? Like, they gotta stop hurting these plants. Or is it like, these people, like, they gotta stop hurting themselves? We gotta like put them behind bars for a few years and hurt them in order for them to learn to not hurt themselves. We gotta like circumcise these dudes and like remove body parts off them and violate their consent and stuff and just take what we want. And then when they're older, like, we'll tell them like, don't take what you want, like consent, but like we totally just made them not have consent. But it's like funny, like, like we won, like we're so more superior and stronger in power. Sorry, there's like all these storylines I get into, I guess, about circumcision. I'd love to see Trump fix circumcision. I think there's multiple ways to do that. Some of them I won't describe here, but the reality is, I think there's miracles to be had. But I'd love to see Trump just stop people from like removing like, hey, adult person going over there with like sharp object towards baby, like naked baby person, like and going towards the boy or girl's genitals. Like, hey, person, like don't do that. It's like, well, actually, like it's clean and like we were told by the scientists and stuff in like the medical community that it's like cool, it helps, and girls like it, and it's like you're about to like remove a body part off this person. Like, you're concerned about girls liking the, it's a baby. Like, what are you doing? Like, you don't even know if they're into girls. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you don't know what they're into. Like, what are you doing? And it's like the scientists and stuff, like, we gotta let the adults like do this to the babies. It's the smart thing, it's the right thing. Like, it's the God thing, and it's just like, you know what? If it is the God thing, it ain't the God thing anymore. Like, in my opinion, I think God's done with it. It'll teach its lessons. I think it's meant to teach its lessons. You know what I mean? Like, God will teach its lessons. We'll learn our lessons. And I think it'll make us better people, believe it or not. Maybe not. Maybe we'll just become worse people. But I think if Trump wants to protect children or talk about protecting children from mutilation, he should go after male circumcision. In America, pretty much all of them, that are non-consensual, like these are babies, these are children. Like, I never said when I came to this life, like, hey, yes, please remove this part of me. I want girls to like think this about me. If you were to ask me, I'd be like, oh, like, hey, like this thing, like it will do this functionality and like it will do this for you, like blah, blah, blah. And the experience would be like that. And like, it's the way God made you. You could do that. Or you could do this thing and it's like cleaner and it's easier to deal with or whatever, and like girls will like it more. You should just do it. Otherwise girls won't like you. I'd probably be like, well damn, like I wish girls would like that. It's gonna suck, but I think I'll just keep my body. Like, it's cool. I guess God made me this way. I'll have to deal with it and figure it out. And I guess some of God's creations aren't gonna like that I'm whatever I am, but I'll just keep it. Like, it's cool. And if girls aren't into it, like it's fine. Like, obviously. Right? And we're just both people. But yeah, I think Trump should stop that from happening and stop it from happening to girls, boys or girls, right? The reality is billions of people in this world, boys, girls, they had their bodies taken from them as soon as they came here. Or in their childhood. My eyes are closed and I'm still naked in bed now with you, but I'm not showing that, obviously. And sorry that sounded so suggestive, but it feels very appropriate because I feel like sometimes, whatever, listening, we're talking about Trump, like sometimes he'll say something, you're just like, what? Trump said that? Yeah, it's a real thing. It's a real quote. Look it up. You're like, okay. And then you look it up, like, Trump really said it. Trump said that. Is this good or bad? It's like, I don't know, but it happened. It's like, okay, Trump said it. Cool. Yeah, I need to tell you everything about Trump, like always, every time. Okay, like, I'm for here, like, freaking it. Like, I'm not meaning to judge because I've done the same. Like, Trump's in our world now. I'll release this on YouTube, like, screw it, and just be like, hey, like, Trump, like, fix this, like, figure this out. There's steps after this in my mind, too, that I'd love to see the Trump admin get on. I don't know the realism of any of it, but the next step I'd love to see is trying to get the bodies back to the people, the bodies that were taken from them, taken from me. I don't know what happens in this life in terms of me ever getting my body, but I do believe many of you will get your body if you've had it taken from you in this way. I don't know about anything else, and I hope to God, I'd love miracles of like we can bring back all things of everyone's bodies ever. But yeah, I'd love to see Trump make efforts on that. I don't know what that looks like because there's not a way to make that happen yet. It's like, oh, this plant, like you can't put that in your body. Like that's the way. Like I mean, I'm thankful because I'm like in a state that allows for cannabis. I don't mean to be this peak in like the praise of like, oh, cannabis is perfect. Like it has its negatives and positives. I just know the reality is I live in this world that takes my body, and then it's like you also can't do this with your body. I'm like, what? The plant's not gonna get hurt. Like it's fine. This is our relationship, me and this plant. Like I burn it and then I inhale it and then it takes my breath away. Like that's what this plant does. If I was in a different place, it'd be like, oh, you can't also interact with that plant. I'm like, that plant though, like it helps me in various ways. It also hurts me. It's a relationship, but it's helped me like deal with my own, like when I've been in dark places feeling about my body, this plant comes by and is like, it's okay. Like, oh, cool. Like at least I get to do this with my body and it's not hurting anyone. It's consensual. Like the plant, I think, as consensual as plants can be with me, I think we both enjoy each other. I'm thankful that at least God lets me do that with my body. But even if it's like, okay, this part of me has been taken, it's like I get to still interact with the world in a certain way that some people don't. And I'm thankful that God's like, I'm sorry about taking that part of your I'm like, I actually don't even want to pretend, dude. Like it hurts so much. I didn't say like, it's cool, God. At this point, it's fine. Like, I think God had to do this to me. Genuinely, I think God had to do this to me. I think it's really because he loves all of you. He loves me too, but I think he loves all of you. I think that's why God did this to me, because God loves you all. That's why it's like we're kind of chill. Because I love you guys too. I love all of you. God loves you. God loves all of you. And that's why I think God harmed me in this way. And because he loves me. That's a very weird thing for me to, it's been hard for me to accept that, to be honest. But God does love me. It's just, I can't lie to you all. Like I just very often wish like, oh, I wish I was dealing with your problems and not mine. I know that's the same thing with many of you, and people go, oh, but you'd realize until you were in their shoes, then you'd be like, oh, I wish I was back with my problems. Some people come to me and it's like, oh, I used to be addicted or do this and that, and then I realized, oh, I just need to change my life and do this, and I could change my behaviors, and then I wouldn't be doing this thing anymore and be addicted to this or like escaping. And I'm sitting here like, that's so unrelatable. Like the problems that I deal with, some of them just can't be escaped. Like they're just always here. Like I have to figure out how to navigate them. Like they're just here. And many of you deal with that too. I just wish that I could sometimes trade places with people and be like, oh, I could actually deal with these problems. Like they're not problems that are unavoidable. And trust me, many of you don't have that being the case. That's the thing where it's like very interesting where I go, oh, I really actually wish I didn't have this. Because I was doing fine dealing with issues before I understood any of this. I was plenty capable as a human being. I still am, but I was more capable. And then this just like totally took me out in my early 20. Like before I had any sexual experience, I actually figured all this out, that I had lost like so much. In my mind, some of you might disagree with me. I would say as a circumcised guy, I've done my testing, and many circumcised guys that might disagree with me haven't done any kind of testing. So I would just say, fine, like you could do any kind of research or study. Ultimately, my experience and my body and my feel, how I've felt doing my own testing is more meaningful to me than anything you could tell me. So I'm sorry if that offends you, but I know what I've felt. I've done my testing. And I'll trust my testing over some study or anything like that, because it's like, oh, I can literally feel this. But yeah, in terms of solving this problem, people are like, oh, solve it yourself. Like, don't think the world will solve it. I'm like, the best possible thing, like the only, like, what can you do in your power to like fix this? It'd be like literally just reaching out to Trump and be like, Trump, fix this. Like, do the smart and kind, compassionate things. I think you want to genuinely do that. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think maybe you want to do that. And I think if MAGA wants to be freaking better than it's ever been, and just as America needs to be better than it's ever been, then I think they need to figure some of this stuff out that I've mentioned in this video. That's my thinking. Or you could just, build a wall, and then that's your,
But I know rather it seems like you want to be like, oh, let's make the world more peaceful. Let's protect these kids from adults doing this or harming them. Protect them. Because yeah, I was protected as a kid. You know, there are instances like that for me, and I know for many of you, there are instances like that. And I'm in no way to mean to take that away from you or be like, oh, I had it worse or like I totally relate. It's not like that. It's just more I have personal vested interests where I go, oh, I hope future me, some kid born right now, I hope that your parents protect you. And like my parents trust me, they did the best they could. It's okay. Like I have my own understandings on all this, and I'm not gonna like share them here in this moment. There's things there too, you know. There's just storylines there and things that were tough there too, right? The very root, the functionality of me that goes, why should I do any of this? Why does this matter? What am I trying to get? A lot of people, I'm telling you, that's like, oh, you could get a girlfriend. And it's like, that's cool. Like, I don't mean to, I love that. Like, you know, but I'm sitting here like, it's a mixed bag for me. Like, the sexual experience of humanity for me, like, just a little bit. Like, I love it, but it's like, well, let me just say the circumcision stuff, it doesn't help me. That could be physical ways for sure, but I just mean more like psychologically, right? Or emotionally. Censorship's also really hurt me too. So I'm very thankful if Trump does work on censorship, free speech, or like making sure that people's voices are heard and they can like speak their minds. Because I've been shadow banned and straight up censored. Like I've seen so much of my like 90% of stuff I post on YouTube, like comment wise, it just gets taken down, dude. Like I'm not crying right now. I'm kind of laughing because I'm so used to just being censored. That's something really where the left's got me is I just go like, oh, I thought the left was into like human rights, so they're not even like trying to stop this freaking mutilation stuff. Like, what the heck? And then also we want to shut up people like you, and I'm just sitting here like, well, I mean, my body was already censored. Like, now you want to like censor my thinking and feeling and speaking? Like, damn, this world sucks so much. It's just like, yo, whatever you can do to control you, make sure you can experience less, be less. Like, we need to stop you, shut him up, and like, cut off a part of this, it's dirty, or screw him. Or, like, I have no idea. Like, I genuinely think it's part of the world that just wants to hurt people. Like, I'd hate to say it. It doesn't matter the reason it's happening to these boys and girls and stuff, but when it's happening, it's just like, oh, we want to hurt people. Like, yeah, it's a sad part of humanity, man. There is that part of humanity.
I'm surreal, and this was how I feel.